The last video was showing the glue up of the center section of the door. It's now the final glue up, which is getting the two side stiles on. Once that's done, it'll all be clamped and strapped up. The clamps that you can see at the moment, they don't need to be on anymore, so I will be removing them when I start getting the final straps on. These can now be removed because the glue's already set. It's been 2 or 3 hours since I originally glued up the center section, so they can all be removed. It allows me to get my strapping on, which you can see I'm putting on now. It's not often that I use a sash clamp to pull my doors together. I'm usually pretty good on my mortise and tenons, get a nice easy joint to slide together. The two smaller clamps that you can see that I've got on here, these are purely just to hold the center section. By this time it's probably been about 10 minutes since I've started gluing up, so a little concern that the glue could be starting to go off, because it is a 30-minute PU glue, which is giving you about maybe 15 minutes realistically glue time to work with. So I want to get them clamped up just to give me a little bit more peace of mind while I'm getting the center banding on. So that's the main frame all glued up. You've noticed that I'm not using a sash clamp. There's a couple of reasons for that. Is mainly this is a large door, so once I've got 8 to 10 clamps, 2 at the top, 2 at the bottom, probably 4 or 5 in the middle, it's going to be extremely heavy to move, and that means it's going to have to stay on my bench. I can now, because I've only put the straps on, I can now lift it off, put it to one side and continue working. The other reason is I just find these, you get a more even clamping pressure with these because it's strapped all the way around. With your sash clamps, you're going to have to put one on the top, one on the bottom, just to make sure that your joints don't bow out or the stiles don't lift up. I've never really known that to happen when I'm using the straps. You are wasting the strap, but it's cheap, so I class this more as a sacrificial. So I don't mind actually wasting this because it doesn't cost much to buy. I can now lift this up, put it to one side over here, let it dry off. It's just easier for lifting and moving it around, especially with a door this wide. It's 4 foot wide. So to try and lift this off, if it's got 8 to 10 clamps on, it's going to be extremely heavy, and it's just not worth the aggravation. And I believe I get a much better clamping pressure, or a more even pressure, with using the straps because it's even all the way around. I don't have to worry about if one sash clamp is tighter than the other. If you do have 2 sash clamps and your sash clamp on the top is tighter than the bottom one, you can get it kicking out a little bit, so then your door's not flat. So this is my preferred method to clamping it up. Plus, the type of work that I do, I can make in 10 to 15 doors, especially internal doors at once. So if you've got 8 clamps on each one, that's a lot of clamps that you're going to have, and a lot of storage space. So this allows me to have a few sash clamps that I need if I need to get a sash clamp on it, and then I can strap it up, put it to one side, take my clamps off if I'm using it. But as long as your joints are all cut and you're accurate with your mortise and tenons and any mitering or joints that you're doing, you don't really need to put a whole lot of pressure on. If you're seeing people where they've got a sash clamp on and the sash clamp itself is bowing, the metal bar is bowing, there's something wrong there. Clearly, in my view, they haven't been that accurate with the joints, because you shouldn't have to put a lot of pressure on them. Everything should slide together without too much force. You should be able to push it together, a light tap with a rubber mallet, but that's about it. But if you're getting to where your sash clamps are bowing because you're clamping them on so tight to pull your joints, then you need to have a look at your accuracy on certain aspects of what you're doing. So all that's done, it's now going to get put to one side, and I'm going to start on the inner panels, the circular panel and the round mouldings on the circular inner rail.